Hi guys, Griff here, welcome back to the channel. 48 Laws of Power. Law 6, court attention at all costs. Law 4, always say less than is necessary. Now, boys, I know you've all read it in jail. Well, not all of you, but most of you. It's a very nuanced book. Have a reread because it's getting out of the bounding podcast land. And there's another law that's just been recently put in. It's 49 Laws of Power now. Rule 49, stop eating food while you're podcasting. Yeah, right guys, Dana White's been ringing me this week. He watched my videos. He wants to put on an event. Apparently it's going to be Decca versus Cockerill, G versus Attwood, Dr. Rackpull versus Uncle K, and Fighting Trolls versus John Morris. What a week it's been in there. Podcast land, podcast wars land. Now, Decca, up and down, he is up and down.
Time and a place over the weekend, and I'll be there. Get back to me!
Yeah, freaking out, saying sorry. He's been through a hell of a lot, you know. I'm not taking that away from him. All this anonymous trolling and all this business, you know. As I said from the start, this channel is, it's designed to be a safe zone in the the treacherous land of the podcast wars. This is a safe space, you know, for us all. And I'm here to broker peace. But things are getting worse this week. Decca's got an expose coming out soon about all the trolling that's been done against him. He leaked something. He didn't leak something. He put it up. He put some up this week, like a little taster, I think he called it, of some of the stuff he's been going through. I watched a bit of that. Also, he was a bit peeved with Brian Cockerill, because Brian, apparently, somebody's got cancer, and Brian said, wished him well, said, you know, all the best, mate, hope you get better and all that. And Decca didn't like that because apparently the guy who's ill had something to do with one of Decca's trolls. So he didn't like Brian doing that. And then Brian came on with his wife on his podcast. You may know Brian from the Taxman documentary from a while back. He's a hell of a boy, he is as well. And he came on with his wife on their podcast. And he was saying, Decca, don't tell me what to bloody do, son. I'll do what I want. So, you know, that all went bloody haywire anyway. So I don't know if they've brokered any peace between themselves there, but that's not going too well. G versus Attwood. Now, they were mates when I said, and I think it was episode 1. They weren't mates. Well, they were mates. No, they weren't. They weren't mates, then they were. And now they aren't again. Storm in a teacup, I think. Attwood's apologised for the mix-up tonight. What it was, right, I'll just tell you briefly. Attwood sent his boy down to film G in the gym doing his workouts. The day before, Attwood and his missus, you know, his female co-host, had gone down there and they'd filmed a bit of, them doing a bit of a workout at G's instruction. And then the following day, they were supposed to, his cameraman was supposed to film Darren G doing some gym work, which they were going to make into some sort of video to, promote. Now, as part of the deal, they agreed with the gym owner, they were going to make a short promotional video for him. G turns up at 6:20. Apparently he was due at 6. The cameraman's already filming the short piece with the gym owner. G's waiting about, getting a bit pissed off. He's thinking, he's here to film me. Why is he filming him? The cameraman hasn't come over and said, all right, Daz, I'll be with you now, son. These things sometimes take a bit longer than necessary. G's had enough. He's got his phone out. He's filmed the cameraman in the background behind him. Originally, it looked like some sort of a hostage scene, but obviously not when I saw the full video. He was just saying, right, Attwood, I'm not having this, mate. You're flipping using me for footage, for content, etc. Your mate here's been filming, and he's been filming with the gym owner, and he hasn't been filming me, and he's supposed to be here to film me. So I never want to be your mate again. And the cameraman is standing there thinking, I don't really know what's going on here. He looks a bit like, remember Keith from The Office? He looks a bit like him if he had AIDS. But anyway, he was looking very sheepish, as if, I don't want to be in this situation. But G, let everybody know. No, Darren G, let everybody know. I'm not being mucked about like this. I think he's struggling to believe that Attwood is really out to help him. I don't know if he is or not. But I was once told by Jocko Willink, don't burn bridges. That was his advice to me when I asked him a question in a Q&A once. Don't burn bridges. So, I'm not here to advise anybody. As I say, I'm not here to judge. I haven't got any favourites in all this. I'm neutral. I'm here to broker peace. But if I was here to offer advice, I'd probably say to Darren G, sometimes you've got to put a little bit of trust in people, which is probably a contravention of the 48 laws of power, I don't know. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, yes, but, I think Attwood is probably in a position to help Darren G out. Obviously, Attwood, as a content creator, is going to take content from that as well. It's just the way it works, but there we go. Now, Fighting Trolls, Paul, I think his name is, he podcasts, I think he's out of North Wales somewhere, fellow Welshman. Now, his channel's an interesting place. I have mentioned it before, and I quite like him, actually. He's a very likeable chap, which is probably why I like him. But he does a lot of lives, he has a lot of people on, and it's become a sort of meeting point. And the channel is Fighting Trolls, but I do see people on there sometimes, and maybe they're not trolls, but they can be a bit rude to some people, But I don't know, they may be the next wave of people coming through the ranks in this game. There's a guy called Dr. Rackpull, who I saw walking down the street, and he said, these are my streets or whatever, so, I'll be looking into him a bit more. Another guy called Uncle K. He was having it off with living in London. He's disappeared as well. I haven't seen him make a video for a while, but he was ill, so I hope he's okay. Daniel Lazar, so if you're watching Daniel, get well soon or whatever. But yeah, I've noticed any new content from him for about a week now, which is unlike him. And Fighting Trolls was having a lot of trouble with a guy called John Morris, who's seems a bit of a strange one, really. I think John Morris was trying to stir it up between Paul and Darren G. So just to break it all down, just to, get to the nuts and bolts of this, Decca started to sort of release his expose, bit by bit, but this wasn't the expose, it was just a taster. He was saying that I don't understand why Brian Cockerill has done this, but he was saying, I'm not saying he's done anything wrong, and he was saying, look, Brian, just come on my live, and we can settle this like men. You hear a lot of that these days. It's like, look, everybody's slagging each other off. Let's settle this like men, yeah? Do you want to come on my live? And it's like, all right, But Decca is a fighting man, and I wouldn't want to fight him. And I wouldn't want to fight Cockerill either, to be honest with you, because he's a bit of a hard nut as well. But he's a Christian now, apparently, a man of God. He's just trying to help people, So I don't particularly think Brian's done anything wrong. I think Decca's probably overreacted, to Brian wishing somebody well, who was connected to somebody who Decca's had problems with. But I think Decca's under a lot of strain and stress with a lot of the stuff he's been through the last couple of years that he's been on about. Yeah, Fighting Trolls has got an interesting channel. He goes here and there, he does this and that. I think his heart's in the right place, but he's got a bit of an open door policy on his lives, and that can't be easy. Oh, and also I noticed the other day that Sam Walker, he's in jail, but he did a Q&A on the phone. So, go and check that out. I haven't watched it myself, but, You know, and he didn't, not an illegal thing. He didn't smuggle a phone and nothing like that. He made a point of saying he phoned his mate because he's allowed to have a certain amount of phone calls. And he did a Q&A over the phone, and then they put it on YouTube. So he's still getting, still getting more content out than living in London has in the last week, I suppose, which is weird, isn't it? Because he's in jail and he's not. But yeah, I hope Lazar's all right. And there's been so much going on. I could talk for like 2 hours about everything that's gone on in podcast wars, podcast land in the last few weeks or last week since I made a video. I could talk for 2 hours about it, but nobody's going to listen to it, are they? To be honest with you, there's far too many channels now with anonymous people slagging everybody off and being rude to listen to me giving a balanced view and brokering peace. But still, yeah, thanks to all the people who watched, listen and comment. There was a guy asked me the other day, did you brush your hair with a toffee apple? And it appears I have again. I need to go to barbers, obviously. But with all this stuff going on in podcast land, there simply hasn't been time. Okay? Thanks, guys. See you soon. Wagwan. Is it okay for me to say Wagwan?
Who the fuck are you?